So next up, we've got delve into the Time Lord Tarot, which is an astrological technique where we're looking at birth charts and which parts of the birth chart matter right now. So it's going to be a bit different, and I think we're going to get a birth chart on the screen, and Mandy and Khalid are going to be talking about that. So over to you.
Where is he? Are you there, Khalid?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, there he is. Hello.
Yeah. Hi.
Fantastic. So yeah. So Khalid and I, we talk about astrology a lot, don't we? I would say on a daily basis, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. So anyway, what we've been kind of working on quite a lot lately is that everybody kind of like understands that in astrology, at the moment you're born, which is why it's often important to know your time of birth as well. But at the moment you are born, it's kind of like someone just presses pause and all of the planets in the solar system are kind of recorded, like where they were at that moment when you first you took your first independent breath, if you like. That's your birth chart, and that's like your blueprint of life, you know, throughout the time that you are here in this life. And this is all very fascinating, and that in itself contains layers and layers and layers of information. However, going back to kind of traditional astrology, it's kind of very much sort of recognized that that birth chart is, the whole of it is not always active every minute, like every second of every day of your entire life. It's not like the whole thing is kind of exhausting itself. There's just certain times in your life when certain bits of it are kind of in this under the spotlight, as it were. And there are various Time Lord techniques that can identify which bit of your birth chart we should be looking at any sort of like, you know, given time. I hope that was kind of understandable for people that even don't do astrology. If anybody's confused about what I've just said, honestly, please say, and I'll try and say it again in a simpler way. So yeah, speak now, or we'll kind of move on to the next bit about the Time Lord techniques and kind of what that actually means. No one is speaking, so I am assuming everybody understood what I was saying. So basically what we do is what we are using sort of one of these techniques, which is called annual profections, where you can take a specific year of a person's life, and this goes from their birthday. So like, for example, today is what day? 6th of June. So say it was your birthday today, the annual profection would be what is going to sort of happen, or what is highlighted in your astrology from the 6th of June on this birthday to the 6th of June on your last birthday. And let's just say, for example, your birthday was on, I don't know, the 6th of December. We were sort of like doing your reading today. We could look at what has happened between the 6th of December up to this point and what will happen until the 6th of December, the next point. So at what point in your kind of like year we are looking at it. It might be things that have already happened or that haven't happened yet. But what we do, we get as much information as we can from your astrology. And then when we're kind of like clear about what is all in the spotlight, at that point, we do the tarot reading. And it is really quite mind-blowing how it all kind of resonates. The synchronicity of the whole thing is brilliant. It kind of like, I mean, we are constantly going, wow, I can't believe this. Look at this connection, blah, blah, blah. So we're very, very excited about this. So Khalid, I'm going to hand over to you to talk a little bit more about this.
Right. So basically, the way annual profections work, first of all, they work most clearly and smoothly when you adopt this house division system called the whole signs houses. And I can't go deeply into the subject without maybe losing many people who aren't familiar with astrology. But basically, it's a system whereby the different areas of issues that you experience throughout the length of your life are covered by, represented by 12 different houses. And each of these houses is basically, it spans one entire zodiac sign, right? And the way that the house sign connection is determined in your chart begins with, I mean, it's based on where your rising sign is, okay? And the rising sign is the sign that is just coming up over the eastern horizon at the moment of your birth. So,
yes, by the time
yeah,
of birth
yeah. So,
for this, yeah.
right. So then regardless of what degree of the sign is coming up on the eastern horizon of your birth, in the whole signs house system, the entire sign would represent your first house. So say you were born with the rising sign at 15 degrees of Cancer, right? Your entire first house would be the sign of Cancer.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah. So, and then basically the distribution of the house sign combinations would proceed from there. So then your second house would be Leo, third house would be Virgo, fourth house would be Libra, etc., 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 until you get to Gemini at the 12th house. And basically the idea of perfections, which we've inherited from Hellenistic astrology, is that beginning from your birth, the houses, the issues covered by the houses get activated annually, starting with the first house. So from year 0 to year 1, the house that is active is the first house. And then with each successive year, the houses get activated in
we
their
have an
order.
easy way. We have an easy way of calculating that. So
Yeah, very easy
but
way.
each
Yeah,
house does represent a different area of a person's life. So,
right.
for example, if you happened to be having a 7th house perfection year, it would kind of suggest that that year of your life, the significant area of your life is going to be 7th house issues, which is things like relationships and partnerships. So,
Right.
it really gives us a huge amount of information on what to do the tarot readings about. But it goes a lot deeper than that as well. But we will get that all. Do you know something? I think we might actually be clearer to people if we actually did this with a real life example.
Yeah.
Of the type of what we can get from the astrology part.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, if there's someone who knows, like, I mean, preferably as closely as possible the time of birth, so the date, obviously the month and the year, but also the hour, and the minute.
So it would need to be somebody who knows their date and time and place of birth. We can demonstrate this on. I think that would be pretty cool. So, who is offering? Wave.
Magic Sam says.
Magic Sam.
Yeah.
Magic Sam. Yeah, all right. Okay, he came up first. Magic Sam, put your video on.
I feel like I'm hogging limelight. I shouldn't do that.
Well done, you. You do realise this could be quite revealing.
I'm not shy.
Right. So. Okay. Well, right. Sorry to anybody else. Right. Okay. Magic Sam. Right. So who's good? Shall I do his chart and get it up on the screen, Khalid?
Yeah. That'd be great.
Okay. I will do it. And we will share the screen with everybody. Can we do that, Sharon? Is she answering?
You'll have to hit share screen since you've got it up.
Right, so new chart. Okay. Right. Sam B. Right. Okay. What's your date of birth, Sam?
27th of the 2nd, 1995.
So 19.
85.
Time?
2 p.m. in the afternoon.
2 p.m. On the dot?
I think so. I'm punctual, if nothing else.
And where were you born?
Bath.
Bath, United Kingdom. Right, I'm just
I'm
double checking.
I'm entering your information through the application on my phone.
Okay, I've
So,
got
yeah,
27th of February 1985.
Yeah.
Okay, right, I'm going to share the screen.
There
Is
it
that
is.
right, Mum?
There it is. Yeah,
Can
we
you
can
see
see
it
the
loud and
whole
clear?
thing.
Oh,
Yes.
perfect. Yeah.
Right, okay, so the first thing is, sorry, Sam, I'm not very good at maths. Just save me this. How old are you right now? How old were you on the 27th of February?
35.
35. You don't look it.
Thank you. That's what
Right,
you meant to say.
okay. Right, so a person who is 35 is having an 11th house perfection year, right? That's really easy information because I've got a chart, okay? So that immediately says we have to look at Sam's 11th house, which is, you can see the number 11 on the chart, which is this bit here, okay? So there's an awful lot of stuff on his chart, but everything that we are looking at in terms of the perfection year, like this year of his life, from 27 February when he turned 35 up until 27 February when he turns 36, we have to put all our focus onto this and anything that directly relates to this. So it makes your life a lot easier, if that makes any sense, because you're kind of like already being told what to kind of focus on. So what are you getting from that, Khalid? Tell us the sort of significant points there.
Right. Okay. So the way this prediction method works is, okay, once you know what the perfection year is, you look at the ruler of the house.
I'm doing my arrow.
The ruler of the sign house of that perfection year. So in traditional astrology, each sign has a planetary ruler that is assumed to have a very strong natural connection with it. And the natural ruler of Gemini is Mercury.
Yeah, so just explain, because people may not know a thing about astrology. This 11th house is ruled by the sign of Gemini, which I'm certain there. Okay, so sorry, carry on. Yeah.
So because it's ruled by the sign of Gemini, the first thing we would need to do is to look at where where Mercury is located in the birth chart, and whether it's in a good position, or as they would say, a maltreated or afflicted position.
Yeah,
and
because Mercury rules Gemini. So the Mercury is over here. Hopefully people can see that.
Right. Okay. So we can see that, first of all, two things, very interesting things. First of all, Mercury is in Pisces in the 8th house, co-present with house. Okay. So there are first two things I want to say, or maybe actually three. So the 8th house traditionally is considered as a kind of a weak house, a relatively inactive house. It's a house where, you know, you get things from other people, or things happen to you through other people that just don't involve active input from yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
So Mercury is kind of affected by the 8th house circumstance there. However, along with Mercury in the 8th house, we have the sun. And if you go and look at the first house, right, the house that is the house of the rising sign, that is Leo.
Yeah.
Okay. And the sun is the natural ruler of the sign of Leo.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, given that Leo covers the first house, okay, that's significant, because the first house is basically the meeting point between the spirit and the body, and it just represents in a very general way yourself as both body and soul. Okay. And so when the ruler because Sam was born during the day, we can see that the sun is above the horizon in his chart.
Yeah, this is the horizon, everybody. This line that
Yeah,
goes across
this
the
line
middle.
here.
And
Exactly
this
right.
point here is the eastern horizon. This
Yes.
is the point of the rising sign that we keep talking about in all the moon tarot readings, everything. So his ascendant is Leo.
Right. So
Did you know
because
that, Sam, that your
I
ascendant?
didn't know.
You know
What
now.
does that
You know
mean?
now. Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
colleagues. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah. So because the sun rules Leo, and the sun in any day chart is a pretty strong planet, right? So even though it's in the 8th house, we can expect it to attract to some benefits through other people, right?
Yeah.
Especially because the sun is the planet of vitality.
But the reason, just to clear this up, the reason we are mentioning the sun in Sam's reading is because it's there in the same sign as Mercury,
Right,
which the
correct.
professors have told us we have to look at where his Mercury is. And lo and behold, it's there alongside the sun. We wouldn't always be talking about a person's sun or their rising sign, but in Sam's case, it's relevant. So I hope that makes sense to everybody. Sorry, carry on. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So one more thing just to note about Mercury is that Mercury is in Pisces, and Pisces is not a particularly empowering sign for Mercury. It's because it's a sign that lies opposite in the chart to the sign that is ruled by Mercury, the other sign, which is Virgo. We can see it. Virgo is the ruler of the 2nd house, right after Leo. So it's not a particularly strong Mercury by rulership. However, it is there with the sun, which rules the 1st house, which makes it stronger. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so,
Yeah.
but going back to the 11th house, which is the house being profected or highlighted this
Yes.
year. Now, the 11th house, first of all, it's all about community ties and friendships that last a long time, and they contribute to both your well-being, your success, and also your larger sense of a meaningful community. Okay, so this year you might want to, I would say to Sam, you might want to look at how how your relationships with your friends are developing, and how any work that you do and any kind of critical life-changing decisions might be related to your friendships and the alliances that you build with other people.
Yes.
So it's important to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
And we also see that the moon, which is a very significant planet, is there in the 11th house. And the moon calls, it's a bit of a kind of, well, it's a planet that spans a big range of meanings, but sort of straddles like the body and the less conscious part, or the more habitual part of our emotions, right? So it speaks to what we need on an emotional level and also on a physical level. So I guess maybe I would say like focus on those relationships that are particularly meaningful to you, that you feel like you need to get by.
Can I say something? A little observation that I think is quite significant here. Because I know we've only got quite a short amount of time here, but this moon he's got here is at 4 degrees Gemini, which is an air sign,
right.
And in the 11th house, which is to do with friendships and groups and things. But he's got Jupiter, which is the planet of great abundance and a very positive planet and a very positive energy, also at 4 degrees Aquarius. And that is like a perfect trine, which is a very positive connection. And that is in the 7th house, which is to do with partnerships. And and you're saying that he's likely to benefit from something to do with other people and other people's stuff. And I'm kind of feeling, even though that's in itself quite maybe an unpleasant circumstance, I just feel there's something really positive going on with Sam here, and a kind of, because the 7th house is to do with important partnerships.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if there's something going on in an important partnership or relationship at the moment, Sam, that's a really, really positive thing. Maybe at the expense, other people's expense, like in a funny kind of like way that nothing to do with you. You and your partner have benefited in some way. That's what I'm picking up from that.
Maybe.
I don't know, do you see that as well, Khalid?
Yeah, I do. First of all, just like one quick point to mention,
Yeah.
like in traditional astrology, right, so if you're born during the day, Jupiter is the strongest benefic, or the planet
Yes.
that brings you good things, stronger than Venus, the other benefic, okay? And any trine, right, and the trine is like a 120, or you can say like, it's not actually a degree-based configuration traditionally, but it's like it happens when two planets are connected by signs in the same element. Okay.
So the Jupiter and the Venus are in the same element.
Air, and the element of air, exactly. But it becomes even stronger when the connection is exact by degree. So
Which
it's a
it is
very strong,
in your chart.
very strong connection between Jupiter, the greatest benefic in his chart, and the Moon, which is a very important planet, right? So we can expect Sam to get a lot of benefits from that beautiful trine in his birth chart this year.
So Sam, I did ask him a question that he hasn't answered. Is there any of this kind of meaning anything to you? Because you've already had 3 months of your life during a lockdown period, for God's sake, and you've got another 9 months or whatever to go of this birth year.
Yeah, when you talk about friendships, I definitely think I've developed friendships and relationships from being locked down, because I'm speaking to a lot of my friends now that I hadn't caught up with, and actually
Oh, you've frozen.
Conversations, so that definitely makes sense.
Oh,
Okay.
cool.
And is there anything to do with a kind of a partnership that is kind of like very beneficial at the moment?
Not at the moment, no.
Okay. Okay. Because that Jupiter is not to be ignored, really. That is such a sort of like a big deal. Yeah.
Right.
I would say.
If we go back to Mercury and its position in the 8th house, I think maybe we didn't mention this, maybe because it's a bit gloomy. But the 8th house is traditionally considered to be the house of death, and taxes. So it could point to, your own death or other people's death, and when it points to other people's death, it also points to benefits you might gain from other people's deaths also. Fortunately, Sam has the sun, the planet of the life force, in this 8th house. So
and also, Khalid, if you don't mind me saying, he's got a positive connection going on. Wait a minute, hold on. So it's in Pisces to, wait a minute, hang on. No, he's got this Pisces to the Gemini there, the 8 to the 4. I would say there is that connection there.
Yeah, it is a square.
Yeah.
It is a square, which is more of a harsh angle.
Well, it's harsh because, I mean, if he's benefiting from somebody else's misfortune.
Right. I mean, it certainly keeps, I guess it keeps these planets through Sam's life and interlocked in a dynamic, kind of challenging way.
Yeah. Would you say, I mean, oh God, hang on, I've lost it. Hang on. Would you say, even though at the moment it's kind of quite tough what is going on with the lockdown, that in any way do you know what I mean? You've managed to sort of benefit in any way from it. I don't mean that in a exploited sort of way.
Yeah, definitely. In terms of business, yes, then I've had to kind of stop some work that I've been doing, which actually my company has benefited from that through the lockdown and the government scheme. So yeah, that does make sense.
So indirectly, although it's very unfortunate, you have actually kind of in an unexpected way benefited from it in a different way.
Through the loss of that work, through the death of that work, I have gained positively. Yeah.
Wow. we don't want to pry into your sort of personal sort of situation. So in a sense, this is all making sense. And then what we would then do, we've got to wrap this up now, is we would then offer you to carry on with this reading and get more information through the tarot. So you might, during that tarot reading, want to sort of see how you could benefit more from the thing you've benefited from, like, you know, where that's going to kind of go. Yeah. Or you might want to kind of go with the kind of like the challenging side of it and just sort of like see how it's best to deal with that. So we would kind of really know where we were kind of going with that tarot reading, and it would all tie in with the astrology. And we could even then kind of like maybe even get you what's coming up astrologically, you know, over the next 9 months, and how that energy kind of ties in with your tarot reading. So it just kind of keeps on going.
Amazing. Yeah.
So I'm going to kind of stop sharing, but I don't quite know how to do that.
How much time do we have left?
We're done, I think. Are we, Greg? Is it Greg? I'm not sure.
2 minutes left.
2 minutes, yeah.
Okay, great. So there's just like a few important, very significant actually things I want to point out. You might be able to see this, Mandy, if you just pull up the current transits and just make them the outer wheel. If you can just do that.
Hang on.
The current transit.
Yeah, that's now.
Okay, see, all right. All right, see how Mars is conjunct pretty much Mercury?
So Mars is there. Mars is up there in Pisces. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, so, it's right on top of his Mercury.
Yes. So because Sam was born during the day, Mars is considered to be the stronger malefic for anyone born during the day. So I would advise Sam not to undertake any significant projects, any investments, until Mars just passes out of Pisces and goes into Aries, where it's happier because it rules Aries. And
I have to say as well that once Mars does go into Aries, it's going to be there for 6 months. So yes, Mars is going to be in a very, very strong place for the next 6 months once it gets into Aries. So take Khalid's advice on that.
Yeah, I just kind of fast forwarded through the transits, and so turns out Mars leaves Pisces, enters Aries on June 28th.
So any investments, after the 28th of June, Sam.
Yeah. So that will be when you can take a breather, you know.
Thank you, Sam. I can tell you, if anyone wants to have a Time Lord Tarot reading, which will be packed with information, Khalid is available today to do that, and I am available to do it tomorrow, Monday or Tuesday. Is that right, Khalid?
Yep.
Yeah. So if anyone really wants to kind of go for it, we cannot do these on the 15-minute readings. We're talking about hour-long readings, really, to do the Time Lord with the tarot. Thank you very much. Hope you all enjoyed it. Here is the lovely Annalisa again. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you very much.